we start the meeting, I thought because this is March, and this is in another week or so, it'll be the month for the Irish. And all of us have a little Irish in us. So I'm going to try to do this before we start. May the road rise to greet him. May the wind be always at your back. And may the sun shine warm upon your face. It's an old Irish blessing. And we're all Irish on March 17th. And I hope you all have a great day. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I would like to go right into announcements. First, the clerk's report. Deb has provided for the board's consideration the fund balance report among your materials tonight, and I commend it to you. What I wish to say about it is that we ended the year in strong position. We ended the year in strong position because of the effort of everyone. It's not just the board, it's not just the budget director, it's not just the business manager, but everyone worked hard to keep costs down, to be creative in how to meet expenses, to apply for grants when it was possible. And you will see that the fund balance report at the end of 2013 is as strong as it was. I would say, I don't want to go back too far because there's a difference in where the strength is, but just to say that we have recovered very, very well from those 4 years that were real pain for everybody. And I want to thank everyone who had anything to do with it. We deeply appreciate everyone's work, both staff and volunteers. So, Sue McCann, you have a clerk's report.
I do. February 1st, 2014 through February 28th. Total local shares remitted to supervisor for town revenue, $3,467. Amount remitted to New York State Ag and Markets for the spay and neuter program, $67. And amount remitted to New York State Department of Health for marriage licenses, $45 was remitted, for a total state, county, and local revenue of $3,579. Pursuant to Section 27, Sub 1 of the town law, I hereby certify that the foregoing is a full and true statement of all fees and monies received by me, Sue McCann, Town Clerk for the town of Red Hook, during the period stated above in connection with my office. I just have a couple of little announcements to make, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
We went on the Dutchess County Resource Recovery website today because we get a lot of inquiries about when Hazardous Waste Day is. So I have a list of them. You have to pre-register and call the Dutchess County Resource Recovery, and the phone number is 463-6020. The closest one to us is in Rhinebeck, and that's June 7th and October 4th. But I'm going to put a news brief in the paper, and this will be posted on the town website, because they're at Poughkeepsie, Fishkill, and Millbrook this year. And I just wanted to report that as of today, I have processed $7,081,783.27 in taxes. So we're in pretty good shape. We have over $8 million to collect total, and I've remitted the town's portion. So we're solving that.
Part of that is county taxes.
Part of that is county taxes, absolutely. That is not we collect for the town.
I wish it were on.
And one other thing, this Sunday, I know people that are watching Pan are going to miss it, but at the Masons up in Tivoli, there's a fundraiser for the Red Church, which is on 9G, It's March 16th this Sunday, and it starts at 4 o'clock. And it's fabulous food, and it's really worthwhile cost, so tell everybody about that. And that's it.
And that was Sunday at what time?
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock, thank you. Okay, so Jim, have you any announcements?
The only one I do, was just in my mail today that the zoning board of appeals meeting, which is scheduled for tomorrow, has been canceled, and that it, will resume April 9th. And that I just got in the mail today.
Thank you. Brenda, how about you?
Just a couple. I wanted to announce about the BARD's Big Read program, and BARD is partnering with all of our local libraries, including Red Hook and Tivoli. And so this is going to be happening for 6 weeks. There'll be activities, performances, and discussions throughout the Hudson Valley. So if you're interested, check on the BARD website or go to your local library. And also, I wanted to announce that the town did receive their $2,500 in incentive money from NYSERDA. This is as part of our participation in the New York Solar Smart Program, of which we were one of 16 partners. And specifically, it was because we adopted the Unified Solar Permits. So we want to thank Steve Cole and Lori Houston for shepherding us through that process. And what it does is help our residents have a more efficient way of installing solar, or getting permitted to install solar on their house. So that was a great reward.
Thank you very much. Mr. Colgan, how are you?
Good evening, how are
Good
you?
evening, I'm fine. Do you have any announcements?
I don't have any announcement at all. The important announcement that I would make is going to be made by Doug.
Good, okay.
He'll be
Good.
at the microphone shortly.
Good, and we do have several reports from departments tonight. Of course, you can see that Councilman O'Neill is not with us tonight. I have several announcements that are, one is a change in schedule. I had announced the last time we met that the shared services kickoff meeting for highway department's shared services among the town and 2 villages would take place on March 26th. That has had to be moved forward to Wednesday, April 2nd at 7:30 here at Town Hall. So that's a change in that schedule. Wanted everyone to know that Tuesday, March 18th is the breakfast at the Farm and Home Center. It's National Agriculture Day, and Cornell does a wonderful job celebrating agriculture every year on that Tuesday in March. It's co-sponsored by Dutchess County Dairy Committee, Dutchess County Soil and Water Conservation District, Dutchess Putnam Westchester Farm Bureau, and Dutchess County Agriculture and Farmland Protection Board, and the Dutchess County Fair. So a lot of people cooperating to make it a great breakfast. A lot of people donate food. It's a great feed, and they have nice speakers, and people who love agriculture would love that meeting. So that's Tuesday, March 18th, 7:30 at Farm and Home Center in Millbrook. I wanted to say that just to acknowledge, since we're talking about staff tonight in various ways, to acknowledge Deb Marks' work, Deb Marks Kuhn's work, for getting the annual report completed in a timely manner and submitted to New York State Comptroller's Office. And anyone who has no idea what it is, this is what it is. It's a detail about everything that went on. She is the original author of it, having been here 20-some years. And she said to me it was daunting when she first had to prepare this report, and she does it now with comfort and with confidence, and she is just a remarkable business manager, and I wanted to acknowledge her work. Moreover, she had no more gotten it submitted, and we got a call from Standard & Poor's, who is looking at our financial status. regarding our bond issues. And Deb's, before they got a chance to make their listed request, Deb fired back to them, I have the annual report with everything that you will probably need, and it's on its way to you. So that's the kind of organizational skill she has, and we are so lucky to have her. So when you see her, you say hey. The last thing I wanted to say, well, a couple of other things. I've been asked, and I'm sure all of you have run into people whose concerns are the same as mine and all the other municipal leaders regarding the safety on Route 9G. And while we haven't got answers, I will tell you this, that the heartbreak of not only losing 2 students, but recently losing another resident within a month. Another family suffers from that dangerous intersection on 9G and West Curly Corners Road. And I'm able to tell you this much, that it has the attention of the Village of Tivoli, the Town of Red Hook, the Village of Red Hook, Winnicke Land Trust, the state assemblyman, the state senator, Bard College's administration, our legislator for Dutchess County. Everyone is working hard to try to resolve some of the issues that are obviously there. And we have commitments from DEC for some solutions for walking to and from Tivoli that are new. So while I can't give you the total plan and can't, I can only say that we've had 2 meetings, and they have been well attended with sincere concern and commitment on the part of all of those entities that I just described. And we look forward to a healthier and safer and better year ahead because of some of their work. And I just wanted to acknowledge that, acknowledge them, and thank them, because it has been a terrible winter in regard to that safety on that highway. And lastly, I wanted to say that you all know that we have been asked by, directed by, begged by everyone above us, that is to say, levels of government above us, to cooperate and to develop shared services, to look at how we do business and be creative about how we do business with each other. And I just mentioned one instance of how municipalities and leaders can come together and direct their attention to one problem where a lot of eyes on a problem with a lot of talent can make a difference. And I just wanted you all to know that I'm committed in the remainder of this year and next year in working together with the Village of Tivoli and the Village of Red Hook to come up with ways that we haven't yet developed for shared services. We know we're going to move forward with looking at shared services with Highway Department, but there are other departments that need that look also. And I believe that with cooperation between Mayor Crana and his board and Mayor Blundell and his board and our board, that you will begin to see actual functional changes among our departments and how we do business and where we do business in the year ahead. That's my goal, and I know that we're all committed to trying to not only be more efficient, but provide better services for our residents. And that can include something as important as water to us. We all depend on water. Water knows no boundaries. It doesn't recognize the difference between the Village of Red Hook and the Town of Red Hook. We all need it. We all have the same need, and we all have the same desire, I believe, to provide good water, which is so important for our citizens, and we are blessed with an aquifer that is unmatched in many ways. And so how to manage it and how to manage it together is the challenge, and I'm committed to working toward that. And as an end result, we should and hopefully will have a more interactive water system where there's redundancy between the system in the town of Red Hook and the system in the village of Red Hook, and hopefully even be able to help in some way with Tivoli over the long run. It probably won't be during my administration, but that's what we need to be looking at, is how to plan ahead, plan long range. So I thank you for your attention, and you'll hear a lot more about shared services. And that's all I have.
Sue, are the DEC scholarship campers coming tonight?
Do you know, I thought they were.
Because Susan's here for them.
Yeah, I thought they were. I spoke with,
Bill?
I spoke with Bill about it last week, person to person, and I thought.
And they didn't say they had to change the date?
No, I don't think so. I'll have to check on that. I'm sorry, if he's not here by now, but he's not here, do you mind waiting 15 minutes in case he's coming in?
Okay.
The children aren't here either, so it's not a good sign.
Makes me think that perhaps something,
That they decided between them that it was the following week? Yeah.
I don't know, I just gotten an email asking if any of us could be here and before, from Lori, this was.
Oh.
I think we have the date.
I think the date is the first business meeting in April. Is it April 11th? Is that a Tuesday? Let me look.
Maybe I misread it.
I almost, my memory isn't what it could be, folks, but
Well, you may be right.
I think that we agreed, it would not be April 11th, though, it would be April 8th. Could my office check with you tomorrow, Sue, about that? Because I am almost certain.
You're probably right.
I think so. I think I remember passing that memo along to hold it for the April meeting. That was worked out between Bill Moore and the scout leaders.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well,
You're gonna enjoy the meeting though.
I'll come back.
Thank you for coming, Sue.
so thanks for mentioning that. I'll see you another time.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks, Brenda. I thought we were just so titillating that she couldn't stay away. But I did. I think we're very interested. Fun things there too. Okay. So, let's move on to the agenda, and so people can. Is there any public comment before we start? Then let's really get right into the agenda and move along. We're happy to have our assessor, Scott Hobson, with us tonight. Scott, if you wouldn't mind stepping up to the microphone. And as he walks to the microphone, I'm going to tell you he has some very, very interesting news to tell us that has nothing to do with assessing, but it's his right and privilege, and he should. Tell the world. Go ahead.
Well,
I need you to do this.
As a generally private person, I don't like to blow horns too much,
Go
but
ahead
my
and
daughter just informed me a short while ago that she's made a commitment to attend Fresno State. So she's gonna be signing an intent to go and attend California California State University at Fresno.
And her name
major-
is?
Lindsay
Lindsay.
Hobson. And she'll be the first, I guess, Division I lacrosse player from Red Hook in its history.
That's fantastic.
I believe the first Division I female athlete from Red Hook.
And
so.
she was an All-American. And what did you just tell me about this coming?
Yeah, she was selected to represent the United States travel team in Europe this summer. And play lacrosse in England against many countries in the EU. So.
Yay, Lindsay.
Congratulations.
Hooray for Lindsay. Go girl.
to get home and congratulate her on her choice, and so I'll keep this rather short and sweet if I can. I'd like to thank the board as always for your assistance and support, and present the following report on our status as a department. We only have one of our cert cases is still to be adjudicated. We recently received a judgment with regards to the other search area that we had, and that has been finalized. We continue to our data collection, verification, and data entry efforts on our commercial and special properties. That has been, as you know, our focus in trying to obtain qualification for a townwide revaluation. Along those lines, we've been delayed slightly because we've only recently received our initial model estimates and our models from New York State. Normally we'd have those in January, and so that kind of put us behind the 8 ball a little bit as far as seeing exactly where we're at. Along those lines, subsequent to that, we've been informed by our state representatives at ORPS that we won't qualify for aid this year. We will, however, qualify for an annual reassessment and maintain our 100% level of assessment status. That's the bad news. The good news is all of the work that we've done to date it counts towards a townwide reappraisal should we decide to make that effort for next year. So everything that we've done is working us towards eventually qualifying for this aid that would be available with a townwide reappraisal. Part of the problem is that simply reappraising a particular property type or class does not entitle us to go with what they consider a townwide reappraisal. I've said that. I did, along those lines, reach an agreement back in December, late December, with McGrath and Company, an appraisal firm, to help us verify that in fact our values that we are creating for commercial and special properties especially are within reason and fair and equitable, and that a consistent approach has been taken when we use our computerized tools. So I have attached that letter to my report, should you need any additional details on that. Inventory is the basis for how we come to value, and it's very important. If anybody notices a discrepancy on the inventory that we have on file for your property, I would respectfully ask that you bring any evidence of unfair assessment to me, and we will do everything we can to correct it if necessary. At that point, I would like to say, okay, do you have any questions as far as any of these points that I've raised? Be happy to answer.
I guess I'm wanting to make sure I understand that the opportunity for that funding that is offered to municipalities when they complete the final assessment, or I should say the reassessment, is still available to us if we work this year, through this year, will be still available to us next year.
Exactly. And all of the work that we've done to this point will, for the most part, be available to be used in consideration for that.
Okay.
So.
Because that was a concern earlier on.
Yeah,
That they were gonna cut that off.
it's part of the problem is to get the money it's all or nothing.
Yes.
And
I understand.
we are just not in a situation where we can reliably say that, and we would be at risk for getting nothing as well as a state-established equalization rate as opposed to 100%. So this is, you know, it's unfortunate that we're not able to access that aid this year or at this time. However, we are maintaining a 100% level of assessment, which affords the maximum benefit to each of our taxpayers with respect to exemptions, with respect to equalization rate, the whole 9 yards.
And we have had assurances from the state that next year could enable us to access that funding that's available parcel by parcel, or per parcel,
With-
state.
We would present the evidence that we have assembled a complete reappraisal of every property in the town. And that is an appraisal arrived at by 2 or more methods. And upon them accepting that evidence, we would qualify for the aid and be awarded such.
In the budget year 2015, is that right?
That would be for the assessment roll, the 2015 assessment roll, which is this time next year.
Right.
So
Okay.
we've already, and for the most part, we would have to have the majority of that work done, I would say November.
Okay.
Okay.
Anybody, any questions?
Yeah,
Well,
I have
oh, you can
Does
go
that,
ahead.
does that, am I correct in assuming in various conversations we've had, that essentially what you need to do is the commercial work that you will do with the assistance of McGrath?
We are continuing to do that.
Is that the remaining element to reach the 100%?
Well, that is one, well, we're going to reach the 100% irrespective of that commercial component. However, in order to make it equitable and fair, we had some inventory issues that caused us some stress last year's roll, which was a lack of actual inventory records. So we've been really trying hard to catch up with that, which will help us establish real values for all of these properties. Part of that is why I sent out the survey to all the commercial property owners, was to try and get as much of that information as possible. We've been doing data collection when we can to get that caught up, and that's what we've been working on. Now, taking all of that information and establishing values with it.
Are those inventory issues related to commercial properties or all properties?
I would say the vast majority of our residential properties,
Yeah.
the inventory is pretty sound.
Okay.
So.
That's what I thought.
That's, yeah, and obviously vacant land is still vacant land. So there's really not a lot of problems in our major types for residential or our major types for vacant and agricultural land. We have that pretty well enumerated. You know, there's a few cleanups here and there that we find as we go along. But the last reevaluation in the conversion of data into our current system, a lot of that information just didn't get brought over correctly. And it's not to say that the values aren't near where they need to be. I think if they weren't, we would see a whole lot more people in our office. But we need to have the inventory to establish that value and to be able to consistently provide values in the future.
Jim?
Yeah, so just to go on with what Harry said, so, for this year, what's the date of establishment? July 1st?
Taxable status day is March 1st.
March 1st.
The final roll is July 1st.
July
yes.
1st, so for the final
But
roll.
May 1st is the tentative roll. That's when I lose control of it.
Right, so then for this year, come,
May 1st.
yep, and then come July 1st, besides any, before our grievance board or what have you in May, the level we're presently assessed at is still considered 100%, and it will
That's
be
correct.
on our next tax roll. Now then, to bring us up to date to the following year, we'll complete the inventory on the commercial with the help of this firm, as you've spoken to us about on numerous occasions.
Right.
And then,
They're helping me with consulting on values, not data collection.
Right, yeah, right, so that will be complete, and the residential data collection is for all intents and purposes pretty much complete now. So between the two of them, then come this November, hopefully we will qualify for the state for the reval, correct?
That is the goal, yes.
Yeah, so then we'll qualify for the reval, get the aid, and then next year, hopefully it'll still be considered at 100% with the reval, obviously. It
Oh,
should be.
obviously, a reval by definition is 100%.
Right.
And to the extent that we are doing a reappraisal, however, we tend to be doing more of a factor. The residential component, let's say, of our town right now is relatively flat. There are gonna be a few subclasses of properties that may go down a little bit, and a couple that might go up a little bit. But overall, our residential rate is very close to 100%. And we're given a certain amount of leeway when it's being measured by an outside party, in this case, New York State, that says, okay, well, you're within tolerance, so we will establish a 100%.
And then the
level of
reval will
assessment.
do the final tweaking to maintain 100% to follow.
Absolutely. And more importantly, the reval, from my perspective, is if we have a good solid inventory, we're in a much better position to maintain it going forward and establish consistent good values year after year after year, and maintain that 100% and the maximum benefit that we can for our taxpayers.
Well, Scott, when Bill and I met with you on February 28th, we were still trying for the incentives at that time. You thought we could accomplish that?
Well, it was unclear at that time. I really didn't have all of the information I needed to say that we can get this or not. And subsequent to that, this is where I'm at.
So the state representative told you we wouldn't, I mean,
Yes.
And just for information's sake for the public, that funding from New York State, when this is accomplished, is per parcel, and how much is it at the moment that we're expecting to receive?
The wording is up to $5 per parcel.
$5 per parcel.
Historically, they've paid somewhat less than that, so.
Yeah, they reneged on the last time they did that, essentially.
It came in at somewhere around 85% of that, I believe. And, it's contingent on how much of a pre-established fund is left available for those towns doing reevaluations. So if the fund is underfunded to begin with, or if a few more towns have qualified, it's divvy it up, and it's by parcels. And so we don't have any way of estimating how much that may or may not be. Only given past performance, I would say it would probably be less than the $5, as far as that goes. Now, we have approaching 4,500 parcels that we would receive aid on. 44, just under.
Any other questions? Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda is a report from Dr. Strowinski, the Chair of the Recreation Commission. Welcome, good evening.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
be a radio announcer, you know that.
What's that?
You should be a radio announcer.
For those that don't know me, my name is Doug Strumwinski, and I am the chairman of the Rec Park Commission. Before I start my little statement, I just want to say that I promise you, the snow will melt. We will see the grass. The rec park will again bustle with a lot of people. I just can't tell you when.
Can you promise us no more snow?
There's at least a 5-foot mountain of snow
don't point
across the You couldn't get in there with a bulldozer.
Not yet. Anyway, I have a brief statement, and it goes something like this. For the past few months, the Rec Park Commission has been addressing the need to emphasize healthy living and physical activities for young children. Programs like the NFL, who does the NFL 60, which is 60 minutes a day of exercise, and Michelle Obama, who's brought up the Let's Move program, have become leaders in accomplishing these goals. What we plan to do is incorporate many of these ideas in our summer programs. The county, the state, and the federal government are advocating these programs along with health experts and nutritionists. So what we want to do is look forward with excitement to initiate these objectives and consider it an important program for youth recreation. So you'll see some changes this year, and we haven't put it all together yet, but we will keep you informed. We're looking forward to giving our children the opportunity to be healthy in all respects, including nutrition. So that's the way we're leading, and we're really and truly looking forward to it. Is there any questions?
Any questions?
No?
Thank you very much.
Sounds like
Thank
what
you.
do. What it makes me think is, I had to throw out an idea to the public, since we're on this subject, that some towns have, what's the committee called? Wellness committee. And this kind of speaks to that, you know, and so I just want to throw that out, that if there's anyone with a burning desire to start a committee of people whose interest it is to educate the Red Hook community in wellness and all its aspects, contact me, because I'd be very interested in supporting that.
I think even John
effort.
Kuhn is going to a wellness fair on Thursday,
Good, good.
so he'll be able to give us some insight as well.
Well, you know, the whole thing ties into all of the efforts the town is having in looking at how many people now want to bike and run and walk. And we recognize that those activities are almost year-round. This year's been somewhat of an exception, but the trails and sidewalks that we have supported allows for that kind of linear park when people can't go otherwise. So thank you for all
That's
your
very true.
efforts with the Rec Commission.
A couple other things before I end. 9 o'clock Saturday, the Red Hook Raiders are going to be in Glens Falls for the semifinals in basketball. So that should be pretty exciting. Also, a couple of things. We are going to have a fishing contest on April 12th, which starts at 8 o'clock, 8:30 that Saturday. Well attended, a lot of fun, and I think that we've already, the softball tournament will be the 25th and 26th of April. So the snow has got to melt. Thank you.
Thank you. I know the kids, I've heard about that fishing
Oh, it's
contest.
amazing.
And I understand those little guys come out with their lines and worms by the dozens and dozens. And somebody gives them hot dogs and they make a day of it, right?
That's correct. The
It
Red
just
Hook,
sounds like a wonderful, wonderful
It's
activity.
a Red Hook Gun Club, I believe. that-
The Red Hook Gun,
Sponsored
Rod and
by-
Gun Club, right?
Rod and Gun, yep.
Yeah.
It's the Mo Mao, right? Mo Mao?
Yep.
And where do they meet, just in case the if one of us wants to get out words to Little Fisher?
They actually meet right in front of the snack bar.
Okay,
And
and that's what date?
April 12th.
April 12th.
Yep.
How young do you have to be to attend?
You're too old.
I know.
Good thing you have somebody between you.
It's really popular.
As long as your father or mother live with you, you're more than welcome. I'm not sure about the age groups. I think they break it out into different age groups, but the salt kill is stocked, and it's really, they come out with some good looking fish.
Yeah, they really do. They really do, and I know they love it. Thank you for reminding us that. Okay. Yeah, and thank you for reminding us. I did have that announcement. Bless his heart, John Kuhn wrote it up for me. After winning Section 9 championship and the regional championship, the Red Hook Schoolboys basketball team is in the Final Four of all Class A schools of New York State. On this coming Saturday, March 19th at 9 a.m., Red Hook will play Rochester East in the semifinals of the New York State Public High School Athletic Association Championships at the Civic Center in Glens Falls. The following day, the winners of the Saturday games will play one another on March 16th, Sunday at 1:30. And tickets can be purchased at Glens Falls Civic Center or online at glensfallscc.com or call 855-42-2849. Go Red Hook
Very
Raiders.
exciting.
It's very exciting. It's a wonderful thing. It's the first time in a long time.
It's been a while since it's
Yep.
gone that far, so.
Yep. Next department is Teresa Burke, the Highway Department, who's got all kinds of stuff to report. Teresa, you're still able to stand up and take nourishment after a winter like this. Congratulations.
Thank you. I just want to say that we have a lot of questions in the highway department, and one of them is how much is it going to snow? And right after that is how much salt do we have? Do we have enough? So I'm going to talk about the salt and sand budget. At this point in time, we've purchased most of the salt and sand that we need for the end of this winter. We hope. We don't know what's coming in the next couple of weeks, but we're hoping that it won't be a lot. We have enough in our shed for a couple of good storms, and we do have money left in our budget lines. According to our calculations, we will be able to purchase 1,000 tons of sand and 300 tons of salt in the fall for the early winter season. That's it at these current prices. Our salt contract changes in September or October, so if it's going to be a little more expensive for the salt, we'll purchase a little less, but we still have some for that buffer that we like to have going into November and December.
Well, can you buy it in August before the price goes up?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. If we have a severe early winter, we may need to find funding, perhaps in the contingency line, to purchase a little more. It all depends on the weather and future contract prices. At the moment, we have $1,296 in the salt line and $22,500 in the sand line. We can transfer money from sand to salt, since they're both in the DB 5142 budget lines. Some storms call for more salt, some storms call for more sand, so they're never exactly the same at the end of the season. A small amount of money will also be needed for the Liquid Magic de-icer, which we treat the salt with. We start with 2,000 gallons, and that would be about $2,980. That would be enough to treat the quantity of salt that we expect to purchase in the fall. So we're good. We're in good shape. Any questions about that part? No? Okay. The next thing we have is we've received a letter of concern about the safety of the intersection of Starbark Road and Vosburg Road. We've reviewed the intersection and we have determined a course of action to improve the configuration. I've attached a map showing the current situation and the proposed changes. The work will be done by the town forces, minimal expense, with maximum results. Starback Road is a through road, and Vosburg Road is the intersecting road. Vehicles traveling north on Starback Road and that continue onto Vosburg Road may not know that they need to stop in order to turn left. There's a huge Y there, and it's all paved. So the cars that are going onto Vosburg just go straight ahead. As a result, they may meet oncoming traffic traveling west on Starback. Realigning and delineating the intersection will force vehicles to stop in order to make the left-hand turn onto Vosburg Road. So they come up to Vosburg on the curve, stop, and take the left. We have plenty of sight distance in either direction, so it won't be a surprise to cars coming either way that car might be stopped to make that left-hand turn. Vehicles exiting Vosburg Road will come to a complete stop before turning onto Starback Road in either direction. So now they can just kind of veer off and go right through the stop sign, and that will stop. We're making it more of a T intersection than this huge Y that's there. The road improvements are scheduled in the spring, and we will advise the local residents when we will be starting the project sometime in 2014. And traffic disruption will be minimal. If there's any questions about this project, please contact our office. And do you have any questions on this?
So you actually be cutting some of that long pavement, reseeding it to
Yes.
align it according to your sketch?
We'll take the pavement out, and we'll
Yep.
put topsoil and seed there.
Yep.
And then we'll put delineators along the curve where you used to be able to go straight
Yep.
to alert people that they now have to have a different traffic pattern turning onto that road. And coming out, the stop signs will be closer together. We may not even need two of them, and we'll have a stop bar. So it'll be a very distinct T against the curve.
Teresa, I want to thank you for being so responsive and immediately getting on that. I'm always thrilled with how readily you tackle an assignment and systematically look at it and recount what it is you intend to do for the public safety. And that's helpful to us because I know Sue McCann gets calls, I get calls, and if it can't reach you for whatever reason, and it's great to have this detailed information on hand so we can talk to people. And I wanted to thank too the resident who took the time to write, who is apparently a former town board member in another town. I had a chat with her, Heidi Resk, and she's not here that long, but she loves Red Hook, and she wanted to hope to draw that to your attention and make it a safer place, and I'll thank you on her behalf until she gets a chance.
Well, I spoke with her about this.
Oh, great, good.
And I told her that, I was letting you know what we were going to do, and
That's great.
when we can, we will.
That's great. Thank you so much for taking care of that.
You're welcome.
It's very clear, very nicely
It
done.
does. It was beautifully done. The next thing on the agenda is, we don't have to belabor this too much, but I wanted to just draw the public's attention one more time to the shared services effort that we're making, and to thank Dutchess County for the grant that they awarded to the town of Red Hook, and for the grant that they awarded to multiple towns. The lead agency in this case is Hyde Park, but Steve Cole was alert to an internet program shared service that Hyde Park was applying for, and we happen to have that program, but there are updates that we need. And so Steve contacted the Hyde Park grants writer and piggybacked onto that grant. So actually we were able to dovetail some money for Steve's department out of the Dutchess County grant funding shared services program. And I understand that that's up and ready to go almost. They're having their first meeting coming up in a week or two.
Next Wednesday morning.
Yeah.
Down at Hyde Park.
That's great, that's
So
great.
they're gonna
Thank you
launch
for
it.
being alert to that, Steve. And Harry, you're the shared services guru. You've been having shared services forever.
Yeah, I was born with that.
Were you?
With the tip of my tongue, yeah.
Well, I thank you for all the effort you put into it and all chatting you've done with both the members of the Tivoli board and the people who reside in Tivoli, answering questions about it. I'm sure there have been some that have come to you as a Tivoli resident, and there will be more questions to all of us. We have 3 Village of Red Hook residents sitting before you as well. So we're all in it together, you know. This is a new way of doing business and a new way of looking at municipal work deserves a political effort, and folks, politics is all about relationships. Don't let anybody fool you. It's all about relationships, and in order to get things done, you need to develop relationships with others. I know Teresa has them with highway department superintendents in other towns, and that's how she does business a lot of the time. I know Scott knows and meets on a monthly basis with his counterparts. Sue McCann has a cadre of people who she meets with who are town clerks, and it is because communication is so available to us now. It is the way that we need to move into the future. So I thank you all. What do you have to say, since it's on the tip of your tongue?
Well, shared services has been on the tip of my tongue. Actually, it's rolled off my tongue many times, and it's been part of the Friday morning meetings that we've been having now, that I've been part of for some 10 years, discussing government with both the villages. There are representatives from both villages there. I started there as a representative from Tivoli, and we all acknowledge, I think, townwide, the village fathers and the village women who are on the village boards, and here we all see that as a necessary way to address the growing cost of government and the efficiency of government. So I for one am looking forward to working things out and improving things with the future. And we have the grant money, as Sue Crane said, to work on this, and we'll be starting that up in a couple of weeks.
And we will be happy to introduce to you the consultant, who is a very dynamic young guy that I think is going to get this job done in record time, and with everybody ending up knowing a lot more than they knew in the past. So that's our goal. And that's a good segue into reorganization, which is, there are a couple of updates that we can make to the reorg. And if you don't mind, if we could look at the planning board, we had a vacancy, and Brenda indicated, Jim, I don't know if you were at that meeting or not, that the planning board had met with a woman who has sent her resume in, and they recommended that we approve Sarah Gilbert.
Yes, it was last Monday.
Would you like to make a motion to that effect?
I'll so move.
I'll second. Is there any further discussion?
No, but she seemed very good and very interested in doing that, and I'm pleasant she came to the planning board meeting and spoke, and I think all the members seem to like her too, and think that she'll be a good fit, don't you, Brenda?
Yes, and the chair, I believe, met with her. Sarah first wrote us in January expressing her interest, and it's a very nice letter. She's available on the meeting nights. She attached her resume, and I think the board was happy with all of that, and with their meeting with her.
Great. Any further discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you both. Now, as far as the intermunicipal task force is concerned, Brenda, I couldn't tell for sure, but I think we have already appointed you. Sue, can you
Yeah,
confirm that?
at the last meeting, we
Okay.
were trying to discuss, my only question is Ann Rubin off of that?
No, Ann Rubin is really the CAC rep, and
But
I
I
think
think they
Bill
were-
didn't know how to.
Because they were trying to fit you into
Yeah.
the CAC also, so, but Ann is still in it then?
Ann,
Okay.
yes, so she's really that person.
So what do we put Brenda in as?
So what I would like to suggest is that, let's see, I think we can call her anything we want.
I beg your pardon?
Village of Red Hook resident. How about Village of Red Hook representative? Would that be all right with you?
That'll work.
Okay, I so move.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, and lastly, I realized in looking at the list, remember I said my memory failed me as to the new student from Bard College's last name. Her name, and she's a dynamic little powerhouse who's going off to the Middle East this summer, and she's just full of energy. Her name is Jordan Robinstein Edberg, and I would like to propose her name to the Sister Cities Working Group, along with Bruce Chilton, who I thought last year we had approved, but his name is not on the Sister Cities Working Group
It was
list.
on an agenda, but it was not moved that evening.
Okay,
I'm not sure
so
what
I'd
it
like
is.
to do these three together because they are consistently involved. Jordan Rubenstein Edberg, Bruce Chilton, and Eric Freudenberger, who is the Red Hook Library Director. Is there a second?
Second?
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
And, Madam Supervisor, just for clarification, so the other members that are listed on the sheet are still members as well?
They are.
So should they be?
These three could, I suppose, we haven't really identified a term,
Right.
because the students are on for a while, they
It's an ad
graduate,
hoc.
new students come in.
So we presuming it's an annual thing now, we should reappoint the others this year as well, or?
That's
We
what I was just
certainly
wondering.
can,
You
is
wanna
that the
just-
question?
Right.
We
You wanna
certainly
bring them
can.
all up to date. They're
If
still
you would all be
active.
comfortable making it an annual, let's just make a note of that. In that case, I would like to also acknowledge and nominate Jill Lundquist, Jeffrey Levine, and Jennifer Huber.
How about Paul?
And Paul
Yeah.
Marienthal, I'm sorry, yes, of
Yep.
course. Paul Marienthal. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. And that's it for reorg appointments for tonight. There is a very brief announcement, and it is that, once again, our Justice Court, town justices have applied for and received another grant. The letter, February 25th, says, "We are pleased to report that the town court received a grant this year of $530 to cover the expenses involved for a dehumidifier for the records room in the basement and for a shredder for the court. This is the 6th year we have obtained court grants. Since 2007, we have received more than $75,000 in grants, furniture, and equipment for the Red Hook courts from sources outside of the direct Red Hook taxpayer funding." And that's signed Jeffrey Martin and Jonah Treebwasser. And again, it's an example of the creative seeking of funding on the part of departments for the sake of keeping town hall running with that at the least amount of cost to taxpayers. So we're very grateful to them. Thank you. I don't have anything more, but I do need to, after calling for any public comment, I will ask that we go into executive session for the purposes of hiring and firing, promoting and demoting a particular person or persons, which is the reason that we are allowed to do that, and also to consider attorney-client regarding contracts. So before doing that, is there any public comment at all? Okay, I thank you all for your attention and for coming. We appreciate your presence.